Hello, hello, hello. This is the Poetic Perfectionist Podcast. I am your host, Sophia.
And I'm your other host, Abigail, but you can call me Abby for short.
Hey girl, how you doing on this fine day?
Surviving, living. Thank be to God, I got another day. That's all I can say for it. Thank you, Jesus.
Just another day. Just another day. Just another day. Just
I can only worry about today's problems.
You don't want me to sing about your joy? No? Okay.
So, how was your day? Don't
act like you don't appreciate my singing.
What's new? I just want to find out how your day was. How things are going.
I mean, it'd be all right. You know what I'm saying? It'd be all right. It was very hectic at work. I was swamped, living my best life, but I'm trying to keep myself sane, but it's a typical work week.
Typical? Is that right? How so?
I mean, typical as in everybody's demanding everything from me on a regular basis as if they're my only client. But, I don't know why that's the case. And they be interrupting. Kind of how like Alexa's interrupting me right now. Alexa, be quiet.
Always listening on that conversation.
I mean, I know it's supposed to be helpful, but it'd be annoying me at 7. And it started a minute late. You not even on schedule and you gonna be interrupting me? Girl, get it together.
Rude.
Don't make me trade you in for a Surrey or a what's that other one? The one through Google.
Bixby, I think, or something.
Bixby.
No, Google. Bixby or Google. Hey, Google something.
Don't make me trade you in for another one.
Yeah, exactly.
I know everybody's paranoid about them listening in on our conversation. Don't get them. They listen in on our conversation.
No, it's
clearly
true.
Mine doesn't listen. Because the way I be talking to it don't be listening.
Listen, it says it listens to your conversation. It didn't say listen to you.
Every now and then she tries to participate.
Confusion is.
Every time she tries to participate, every time she thinks she hears her name, she'd be like, how can I help you? Not today. Siri doesn't even get on my nerves like that. And I be asking for that thing to talk to me.
Siri's a thug. I don't care what nobody says.
I still can't get over the fact that when you had yours apologized to you, you told it,
Google
shut up.
Rolling over.
Said, I'm sorry.
I told you, my sister was like, listen, when Skynet takes over, right? And the machines decide to take out the humans, I'll be part of the first that be disappearing from this earth because
the way you
I'm
talk
rough
to
with technology.
Real rough. You said, shut Google. And Google was like, I'm sorry. I was like, oh my gosh.
I know better to apologize, okay? Not like your Siri. Your Siri's a thug. Your Siri don't give a damn.
Siri.
She said, and I quote, we both going out today, okay? I will blow up.
My Siri said, I be cursing at it. I be telling it that it's worthless. And my Siri's like, bitch, you thought. But then it gets me back because they'll do random upgrades at the most inconvenient times, like in the middle of a phone call. I'll be like, you shouldn't have cussed me out that day. I was like, oh, you are vindictive.
I told you, revenge of that Skynet. They're coming for us.
Yeah, so I can understand why your sister would say that. I feel like I would be in that group with you.
Yeah, girl, we ain't gonna last too long. Not the way we be treating technology. I mean, I try not to mess with technology, period, because I'm like the worst with technology. Other people be like, oh my goodness, technology, let me get a new thing. Here I am, got technology, collecting it and getting it as gifts. And I'm like, please don't. I feel bad because I hardly ever use a fraction of the stuff or the functions that it has.
You be terrible. Like, how this work? Bang it on the table. Why aren't you working?
School of YouTube to teach me everything about this thing.
I try to save the videos for you, but I don't even think that works.
I mean, I do well with the videos. Don't disrespect. Okay. I get my editing done just right with them videos. Okay. I have to look at it a couple times every time to refresh my memories, but
let me revise my statement. You do well with non-Apple products.
Yeah.
As soon as you see me coming, you're like, how does this work? I'm like, I saved like 6 videos on it. Did you not see it? Why am I going to look at that video when I can just ask you?
I mean, it's a fair question. I'm just saying.
What was the point of me saving the videos on your Android product so you can understand the Apple product when I am not there?
I don't know. I mean, I just thought that we was just going to divide and conquer. You know, I take care of the Samsung stuff, and then the Apple things are all you, even though everything we have to use is Apple related. But, you know, it seems a little topsy-turvy. But I figure it's fair. You subscribe to that lifestyle, okay? This is a lifestyle indeed, okay?
It doesn't...
The way them pricing on them phones and technologies on the Apple products be, it's a lifestyle, okay? It's a choice. This is a choice that you chose.
I purposely went with an Apple product because I did not want to get an Android product, which is the same as my parents, because I didn't want them asking me questions. There's a reason why I got them both Samsung phones so they can ask each other. I can't help you because I got an Apple. I'm sorry. It's like apples and oranges, literally.
Smart. Not you using fruit references.
I didn't think I needed to do that with you.
My goodness. Pun-related fruits? That's what we doing now?
That's what we doing now. For the amount of money that I spent on this phone, I'm finna use every pun that I can think of. That's what I'm gonna do. I will say this: these phones. I don't know about other people's phones, but I know mine is very indestructible. I done chucked this thing at a couple walls. It's still holding up.
Listen, the way that they're pricing these phones, you're gonna need therapy to recover. Okay? Yeah. It's the kind of stuff like you see the price and you out here putting in the line, scratching a little piece to make sure that, you know, there wasn't a stain or something that's putting it there, making that price look like the way it's looking.
I did ask my therapist, like, hey, you know, what do you think about me being a scam artist to help, you know, offset some of these costs? Granted, she looked at me with great concern. The cat judged me.
As she should. As she should.
The cat
should judge you.
Meow, meow. What the hell is wrong with this bitch? You thought I was crazy at waking you up at 3 o'clock in the morning. No, this girl wants to be a scam artist. Concern. I didn't say I want to. I just said, what do you think? Because, you know, the way inflation and cost of living and all these damn bills and like we're paying for a war that we're not even fighting in. Like, I don't understand how we are footing a bill for something that we're not participating. I can understand footing the Iraq war because we were in it. I don't understand how we're footing what's going on between Russia and Ukraine. We're not in it. Like, we're in it, but we're not in it fighting. Like, I want my money's worth.
I don't know either. But then, like you always saying, nobody ever asked me. I wasn't there when these decisions were taking place.
Because, you know, if they had asked me, I would have told them, while that is a nice idea, okay, you want to be helpful and all that. I get it. You know, democracy to all, woo woo. Who finna foot this bill?
Not on my dollar.
Because the way, you know, listen, I'm all for it, but like before we send the troops, you go first. You the dude that signs off on the order, on the bill, on the da-da-da-da. Y'all go first. And if y'all make it back, then we'll send those with training. Because y'all be up here, all this da-da-da. It's like dealing with like, you know, that kid in school who always ran their mouth knowing damn well they can't fight. It's like that. Y'all running your mouth knowing damn well y'all ain't going. I'm not saying that the ones that have training can't go. I'm just saying they can't go first. Y'all can go since y'all want to run your mouth.
What they say? Leaders lead by example?
Thank you. The leaders got to go first. Lead the way. Have everybody else stand back, and then you take y'all asses over there.
Yeah, but then we might make history again as being like, the second generation to lose a whole cabinet.
Well, then, you know what? That'll teach a lesson to the next cabinet. Before you start running your mouth, make sure you can cash that check. Because if the Department of Justice starts asking Sophia what we should do, she's going to volunteer your behind. You're right. What you're not going to do is you're not going to volunteer these young, well-trained, well-skilled individuals. Y'all go first since y'all ran your mouth, and then I'll have them meet out with you halfway in about 6 to 9 months.
6 to 9 months?
6 to 9 months.
Yeah, good to know. Good.
I think it's a very good thing. Not, running for president.
Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, if I were, I did and we're touching upon this topic of therapy and all times in, but in my session, I was like, this is why of many things people need to ask me stuff before they go ahead and start doing it. Because think of the problems you can avert. Number one, your foolish ideas. Not you personally, but I'm just saying, whoever I'm talking to, they always got some foolish idea in my face. Your foolish idea. Combine your foolishness with other foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
But you're starting to sound like my therapist. Speaking of therapy, do you want it? Do you need it? Do you find it useful? I mean, aside from, being court mandated, do you find the volunteer useful? Because,
I don't know why we have to take it there. First of all, you should never be at a situation where it's court mandated, okay? Not never.
Sometimes you don't see that you need the help. Others see it for you. So, they kind of give you that push. For sure, you need it. Because, you do. But for the rest of us who don't need to go down that route of extreme, we volunteer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about it? Do you find it something that you absolutely need? Is it more like it's a want? And if it is, how do you feel about it?
I would say it's like a 50-50 thing. And I only say that because for the longest time, I was like, oh no, I don't need therapy. That, because, that stigma of if you go to therapy, that means there's something wrong with you. And I was subscribing to that older generation of just oh, I'm functioning. I pay my bills. I'm a, law abiding citizen and and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, pushing down traumas, beating them down 6 feet every couple of years. So, not to lose my mind and have another mental breakdown. So I would say it was about 2017 or so that I was just I need professional help. I can't do this on my own anymore. And, that whole avenue of using family and friends to release and get through certain things just was not doing what it's supposed to do. And I started realizing that it just became a burden to family and friends. Not that they said anything themselves, but I'm like, oh, wow, they have a lot of stuff going on. And then for me to add my additional crap on top of that, too. So I was like, I don't think this is healthy. So then it got to a point where it was just I needed it. And then it got to a point where it's when I got that, got over sort of the hump and the hill of unpacking these traumas, it was okay, I started seeing light at the end of the tunnel. Now I want it. It wasn't so much I needed to deal with the day-to-day that was going on and the stuff that I hadn't addressed. to, okay, I like this. I got a lot of stuff off my chest. I didn't even know this was a trauma until I started talking to my therapist. Then it's just like, it's the every session you're discovering something new that you didn't think that was a problem. You told yourself that it wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
Until it was.
I can totally understand that. I went in, I think maybe a year or two after you started. And I would say I knew I had issues, but I didn't realize how bad they were until like it started to like regurgitate back towards me. Like I was, to be honest with you, looking back now, I was living in full, complete denial. I didn't think anything was wrong with me. I thought it was perfectly fine. I had blinders on, only to discover that, you know, I mean, I was kind of like verbally abusive towards men.
Huh, that's an understatement. Hey, I'm sure there's a couple men in your life that had to go get therapy because of you. You are their reason for going to therapy.
I was like, no, I cannot be that bad. Like, I literally cannot be that bad until I started like detailing it out. And then I asked a couple of, I started with male family members. And I was like,
did they flinch when you got close?
I was like, well, you know, I wasn't that bad when I was a kid, right? I was like, well, I mean, how do you define bad? I was like, was I a terrorist? Like, was I Satan reincarnated? Yeah, that one. A terrorist? No, the other one. Satan reincarnated. Really? I could not have been that bad. Listen, you didn't physically abuse us, if that's what you're looking for. I'm like,
you were evil mastermind. There was no bruises to see. At least it was physical. They could deal with that.
Yeah, because, you know, they're bigger than me. They can fight back. But it's just like, you were pretty harsh with your words. And, you know, a good chunk of it was unprovoked. We don't know why. And then their sisters or whoever could come in and they could just rob you right in front of your face. And they, you know, I'm sure they had a reason. You know, I'm sure they're perfectly fine. You know, you don't know what they've been through. I was like,
not your sexism. Oh my goodness.
So I'm like, if I listen to them, I'm like, so I'm sexist and I'm mean? What? It's like,
yeah.
If you want to put a title on it.
If you want to put a title. Listen.
So okay. I didn't realize that a lot of my childhood traumas were just, I was acting out and I was acting out at everybody else but the main targets. So it was just like, this is my way of lashing out. This is how I'm going to do it. I have since, you know, I like to say that I am a recovering work in progress. I'm a lot nicer compared to what I was before. And I've gotten verbal confirmation.
She said, I'm working on my feelings. I didn't say I was healed. I didn't say all the problems is now solved. I said working. Work in progress.
Work in progress, okay? My therapist is working with me. The Lord is working on my heart. You just gonna have to give me a minute, okay? So I went from thinking that this was like an option and like, you know, a little kind of like when you go to see your doctor for like your annual physical. I went from treating it like that to like, oh no, this is something that I need to really work on because now I see that it's affecting other parts of my life in a very negative way. And this is me pre-children. I don't even know what kind of evil that I could potentially pass on to my children if I decide to have them. I ain't trying to pass on that nonsense.
This is the generation of breaking generational curse.
When they said they were trying to break us down, well, congratulations, you broke us.
Yeah.
Now we have to repair.
No, for me it was like for one, was acknowledging people pleasing tendencies, and for two, that one is hard, and I'm still working through with that,
girl.
People pleasing tendencies. That is a trauma, people. That is a trauma. And being raised as, like that, to be like that, to think that way, to be catering to other people's feelings, emotions, and physical, needs is a trauma. Okay. It is a trauma. And you have to get to the step of recognizing it, admitting it, being comfortable with that, and then taking steps to change that, because,
it's not healthy.
You can't realizing
you can't continue to be the sacrificial lamb every single time with every single person. No.
Nope.
No,
you can't. You can't. That was like a huge thing for me, realizing that it was even a trauma, because it's like, as women, to some extent, you already have that kind of like beat into you societally, and also, with family. And it's just done in such a, just kind of like a slight way.
manipulative.
It's not like over, like in your face, where it's like, yeah. So it's done in such a way that it's like you don't even realizing it until you start getting professional help. Like, that's not healthy. This thing that you were taught, that you were made to think is okay, is actually not okay, and it's not healthy. And your mental state and other, like you said, other aspects of your life will suffer if you do not fix this and address this. So, yeah, there was a lot of that needed to, yeah.
I can't be good to anyone if it means that it's going to cost me literally myself. Like, how good could it possibly be if it requires that I have to give so much of myself to the point where it's detrimental? Like, that's not normal.
Yeah.
And like you said, no. I think as women, and I think just overall as women, it's expected of us. It's ingrained in us, and it's done so in small ways from the time that we are itty bitty little kids and beyond.
Yep.
And it's done in different tactics. Even like, even with your faith, whatever faith you believe in, even that can be used to almost weaponize you. So it's like there's no safe space almost. So you don't realize how bad it is until you're like almost ready to like break. And you're lucky if you can catch it right before then. Because for some, it's just like once they're gone, they're gone. So when you seek the professional help and you work through those layers, it could be a lot. And you don't realize
because it's like re-breaking.
You almost have to break yourself down to figure out what was wrong and then rebuild anew. You're like, what's that bird?
Rebuild it again, yeah.
A phoenix. A phoenix rising from the ash.
It's definitely like the whole process of therapy is like resetting a broken bone. Like you have to break it so that it can set properly, because you don't realize this brokenness in you and this weight that you're carrying with you has damaged you and hurt you in such a way that it's like you haven't even addressed. You think that, because I've survived it, that means I'm okay. But it's like you survived it and the bone reset, but what you don't realize, it didn't set properly. So now you have to break down, go through that again, think about that, put yourself in that time, in that space again to break that bone and reset it. And this time reset it properly so that it heals properly and you can move forward in a healthier state.
Yeah. And go ahead.
Yeah, no. What I was going to say is like, it's not a magic pill. It's not like, I sign up for therapy and I do one session and then that's it. It's going to fix everything. No, you have to work at it. You have to work out. And like you said previously, it's just like the reference of when you're on a plane, you have to put the mask on your face first before you can try to save anybody else. Like, so if you don't take the time to help your mental state, how are you supposed to be of any good to anybody else?
And also, not just so acknowledging that you need help in order to figure out what is wrong with you, because a lot of times, sometimes it's not necessarily physical or medical, but it's also emotional, mental, things of that nature. Once you've acknowledged that, you also have to take into account who your therapist is. Not all therapists, because they technically fall under the realms of finding, they're a specialist. So you got to find the right specialist for you. And if you're like, quote unquote, doctor shopping, you got to go through a couple in order to find the right one that fits you as a patient, because you're about to embark on a journey where it involves you basically being very vulnerable with this person, and you want to feel comfortable. I get it. Yes. It could be costly if you don't have insurance, but it's like you still have to invest the time in doing the research to find the right one, like you would with a dentist, an eye doctor, a surgeon, like any other medical professional. It just so happens that this one specializes in mental health.
Oh, yeah. It's very important.
Not all are the same. Like mine, I went through a couple until I found the right one. Mine is kind of like a hippie, which I kind of like. Not gonna lie. Because it's like,
if that's what works for you.
Yeah. Because it's like, I'm being vulnerable with this person, but it's a process with me. And it's not something that you can rush me into. Like, especially if we're going to be touching on topics that I'm not comfortable with. If I can avoid it like the plague, I will. So I have to be able to interact with someone who can draw it out of me without being so in your face about it.
Yeah. So that's the key thing. When they draw out and it's like, it comes out like you go in there. My thing that always surprises me every time I go to a session is when you go and you're thinking like, oh, I had a good day today, or things are pretty okay. You start talking about regular little things like, oh, this is what I did at work. And then next thing you know, you're bawling out. You're going through a box of tissues, talking about things that you didn't even think was a thing until it became a thing after you started talking about it. Then I'm like, dang, what? How did we get here? And then you leave the session kind of confused, like, what happened?
And if you think you're going to go through your entire sessions, all of your sessions, without tapping into every single emotion, like if you think you're just going to go in thinking that you're going to be okay, you're going to be stoic all the time, I'm telling you right now, that is a big fat no.
Yeah.
You are going to tap into those feelings, whether you like to or not. You just have to tap into them. Like, I don't know if you've seen that. I've seen on a couple YouTube clips, me and YouTube, I'd be getting in trouble. You start with one video. You start with one video about, a DIY project, and then suddenly you're just in this black hole of something completely different.
YouTube Shorts will get you.
Yes.
The black hole of the YouTube Shorts. Aha!
They will
start one video and then it's downhill from there.
So I was watching this video regarding, it's something about emotional release and how trauma is stored literally within your body. And if you position your way or you do certain exercises, it actually taps into that. And you have, like, for some people, they had a very dramatic emotional response to it. Like, I'm talking shivering and like absolute boohoo tears. And it's basically your body's releasing that negativity out of your body, because as much as we like to think that our mental issues, our mental, problems or whatever that are going on in our head doesn't affect our physical being, joke's on you, it does. It's all connected. Like anything that has to do with your body itself, it's all connected. So when one of the clients, when they were going through the release, it's like she was just like, she hadn't felt so relieved in like such a long time. It was just like she could not stop crying. She just had to keep going until she let it out. There was another one where it was, she went in for a chiropractic adjustment. And let me tell you, Well, I don't know what this chiropractor did, but it was just that one and all of a sudden the floodgates opened. Because it was just, she had been, I guess she was in this person was in a car accident or whatever. And, you know, she never really fully recovered 100%. So it's like the buildup of tension and stress and, you know, short-term solutions to the back pain or whatever was all stored. You would think it would be in her lower back. No, it was all stored up on her, like right here around her neck shoulder area. And once she got that adjustment, she was just like, it just floodgates just let loose. It was like Niagara Falls all over that guy's office. She was just like, could not stop crying. I've been suffering for so long because mentally she was still stuck in that accident.
Wow.
And she's been paying for it for so long.
Mm-hmm. It's funny you brought that up because I ended up seeing something along those lines where they did almost like a documentary where they explained that trauma, like you said, is also, it's not just a mental thing, it's also a physical thing. Yep. And so this interviewer, like they were explaining how like the research that they were doing was showing that trauma when stored, like that there was trauma that was stored in people's body sometimes can end up, like you said, like a visceral manifestation once released. Like they would have sessions to like release these. Or some people, there would be people convulsing on the floor. Some people, there would be like black gunk and things that would, like they would violently vomit and come out of their body because of just like how they held the trauma within them. And you don't even realize it. And then his research was solely focused on refugees. So people who had gone to like were refugees of like war and other things, and like were soldiers and like children and parents, and it would be like, you know, he would explain like, oh, you know, I would be in these very trauma or very you know, war kind of like affected areas, and I would be down in a shelter with like all of these refugees and these people, and you would not hear a drop. Bombs would be dropping, there would be noise, you would hear it everywhere. And like everybody would be like huddled in this hole underground, and it would be silent. Like you could hear a pin drop, and it didn't seem like anybody was stressed, anybody was anything. But then when they started doing the work to kind of deal with all this, you would see like how when it came time to like release all that stress from like this time and this period that all these people had to go through, how violently it was, you know, like I said, there was some, they would be throwing up like black gunk and things like releasing from their body that was being trapped. And you had other people that was like, you know, they would do these simple exercises, and the next thing you know, they're just like, it was as if they're having a seizure on the ground to like get rid of this trauma that they were holding in it. And it's crazy how the body works. And it's also amazing how your body protects your mental state by taking on some of that pressure and the physical and the visceral aspect. Like your body is just like, okay, my mental state can only handle so much. So I'm going to break this trauma so that my mental state only handles some part of it. And then the rest, I carry it physically just so my mental state can still be protected to function and still give the rest of my body instructions of what to do so I can keep pushing and keep moving forward.
I think in a way that's how like victims of like violent assaults or sexual assaults, that's how it works for them. Some of the victims, especially the ones of sexual assault, they will actually block out that entire, like that, they'll block out parts of the assault or all of it altogether from their memory. It's as if they have no recollection of what happened, even though there could be, let's say there's evidence of it, there's proof of it, whether it's DNA or whatever the case may be, but like they can't remember it. And it just takes like one small thing or note or whatever to trigger it. But I think oftentimes they have to go through therapy in order to unlock it, and it's just an absolute nightmare. Like, to think that your
yeah.
body itself, because when you just, how you just said it, to think that your body yourself can just literally protect itself so much so where it will be like, you know what? You can't remember X to Z, and that's it. And physically you carry that, or physically you show those examples, show those symptoms of it. Only protect like your body, because essentially your body goes into like defense mode. Like it just has to almost. And it's easy as breathing. You don't think about it. You don't have to, try to memorize. You just do it. So it's crazy to think that way. Also, for people who grew up in like really, really rough neighborhoods, especially, I don't know about other people, but I know in Black neighborhoods, predominantly poor Black neighborhoods, when there's like violence on a regular, especially gun violence, a lot of those kids, if you think about it, I think a lot of the people that grew up in that environment, if you see it day after day after day, they must suffer from some form of PTSD or something to that effect, because there's no way you can tell me that they can deal with living in like a rough neighborhood where guns going off God knows when every other weekend is perfectly normal, and they're just immune to it. They're so desensitized from that. And it makes sense. If you live in something like that, if you live in a neighborhood like that and it's normal and everybody carries on and you just get by just to survive, it starts to, become second nature. Look at like when you turn on the news every other week, every other day at this point, it's like there's some kind of school shooting. I'm like, this is not normal. This is not okay.
Nope.
But we're so immune to it where it's just like, so-and-so,
another school,
another kid, another teacher, another parent, I'm like, no. Some form or another, it has to be. And granted, we are not mental health specialists. We're not therapists. We're not any of these things. So don't quote us. I just think that there's something underlying within you to think that's okay. And if you do, I don't think it necessarily is your fault, because if that's the environment that you grew in, that's the environment that you grew in. Like, there's nothing you can do about that. Aside from moving, which then ties into financial resources, if you don't have it, you don't have it. So there has to be something else to offer to people. And this is just one example, but just to offer to people to help them get out of that, because regardless of whether you're used to it every day and you're okay with it, you may have a stronger emotional support system than somebody else. It's still not normal. Like, it's not okay. It's just not. There's no reason why, just because it's not the best of the best, you don't live in the suburbs where, everybody's manicured, got manicured lawns or whatever. And, everybody knows each other's neighbors, and we all leave our doors unlocked and blah, 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 blah. That it's perfectly okay for guns to be going off every 30 seconds. And we're just supposed to deal with it. No, that's not normal. That's not okay. And it's not right. And we need help. We need help.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's true, because the thing about it is, it's like your body is designed to such a way to not only protect yourself from outside sources, but it's also designed to protect you from yourself, which is why there's certain things where they said, I think, you trying to hold yourself underwater, like if you're trying to drown yourself, your body won't allow you to do that. If it has the capability to like force you to come up for air, it will do that. It will override whatever feelings or thoughts you have to get you over. If, on the other hand, you put yourself in a situation where it's now a third party or an outside force that's now forcing you to, be hurt, and you can't control it and you can't do anything to stop it, then that's another thing. But if your body has a capability for itself, for it to be able to protect itself from you or an outsourced source, it will do it. And like you said, it's just like with those, victims, it blocks out certain things from their mind. And for a lot of people, their mental states could be like, in such a way where it's like they literally cannot handle it. The best course of action is to forcibly forget just so you can be able to function and move on and get yourself to the next step in the next day.
Yeah. You're at that point, you're in survival mode, which for a lot of people, depending on what the environment is, you reach a certain level of survival mode. You tried your very best to get through the next day. If you're in an area where it's like I said, rough neighborhood or war-torn country or, just whatever the case may be, you're trying to survive long enough to see tomorrow. Sometimes long enough to see the morning.
It's true.
Long enough to see the morning. If you're in like what looks like a cookie cutter area, but in-house, it's an absolute nightmare, you're trying to survive long enough to get out of that house.
Yep.
So it's like therapy makes sense, especially if you can just sign up for it. I think nowadays, if you have like the lowest tier, I think even on Mass Health, you're like guaranteed a certain amount or whatever the case may be if they accept your coverage. I think pretty much if you find the right office and they accept it, if the copay is $20 or $10 or even free, just go.
Yeah. Just go. Yeah. Literally, just go.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, it's like how you...
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say the thing about it is how you manifest you dealing with your therapy is different from people. Like from other people, you won't even notice that it's a thing until you start going to therapy. Like for me, I didn't know I had a shopping problem until I got to therapy. Like, yeah, I got a problem. I mean, other people would point it out and be like, you seem to buy a lot. And I'm like, oh no, this and the third. But I didn't realize that it was my way of coping with things. Until I started doing purge, like I started purging closets, purging drawers, purging my room. And I was like, I have a bunch of stuff with tags still on it that I never wore, I never touched and stuff. And then when I started going back to the reasoning why I even bought and got these items, there was no other feeling other than like, oh, well, I wasn't in a good mood this time and I just needed to like get my mind off some things. So then I went to the mall. That was like my little escape. Like go to the mall, just window shop, and that window shop turned into me impulsively buying a bunch of things that I didn't need, nor did I ever use.
Yeah, we're justifying
sometimes.
it by we prettied it up by saying, oh, it's retail therapy. It's just a little retail therapy. It's just a little retail therapy. But that particular form of quote unquote retail therapy isn't helping you. It's actually hurting you.
Yep.
Yeah, you ever seen that show Hoarders?
In my wallet. Heavily. Nah, we don't wanna go down that path.
A lot of them,
scary path.
But it's still a form of trauma. It's all connected. You try and peel away their stuff. You peel away enough, you realize there's an issue there. And whatever that underlying issue is, it's bubbling out. But you only see it because they have a bunch of crap in their home. The actual issue lies with them, and they're expressing it through physical stuff. So, yeah. You know who does need therapy? Court mandated or volunteer? These politicians with their foolishness. That's who they need it too.
It's funny because it's like police have to go do like that mental, like see like a psychiatrist or something like that to make sure that they're like fit. Like they have to go through a check to see if they're like fit to be able to get to work or whatever, or be in the field.
Yeah.
Politicians, people of government should have to do that too. Like,
yeah. Remember, what's his face?
They need to do that too.
I forgot that. I can't say the old guy because a lot of them are old anyway. So he's like, I think the new speaker or something, whatever the case may be. He was in the news recently because he literally, for like a minute or two, like he froze. And people thought he had a stroke in the middle of a press conference. Like he just stopped talking. He was like, and then continued talking. It was like, well, yeah, maybe there's something up there. If it's not physical, there's something up there, and it's reacting through a physical form. Maybe that's possibly it.
You never know.
Old man Joe. affectionately call him Old Man Joe. Brother is falling all over the place. Every other week I see him falling. Hey, y'all are stressing him out. He can't even find his balance. First of all, that summer when I think he was in the vineyard or whatever, his Secret Service person was right there. Why didn't you catch him? Why is no one ever around close enough to catch him? Secret Service is close enough to catch him. Why are you not catching him? This man should not be touching the ground.
They get paid to catch bullets. They can't save you from your own stupidity and clumsiness.
What I'm saying is you're literally the closest person to him. Reach out and just, hey there, buddy.
They don't get paid enough for that. That's overtime. They get paid for outside forces that try to attack, not the person themselves.
I'm just saying you're right.
Doing what they're doing.
That's like if we're walking down a flight of steps. This happened to me once. It was like me walking down a flight of steps and I fall and then you don't even try and catch me. You just look at me roll down the steps. You're like, what happened? Which, by the way, that actually did happen. That's how I sprained my other ankle. Like I heard a crack, and then I let my body fall.
Mercy.
I let my body fall.
Not you saying let the bodies hit the floor.
If I fought it, I felt like it would have been worse. So I was just like, well, just let me roll. Just roll right on down. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, that's out of curiosity. I'm trying to figure out why is no one ever catching Old Man Joe? If Bush 2 can dodge shoes, why can't you not fall?
I mean, that should be an indication why he's not ready for this presidency. Bush 2 was dodging shoes. That should be part of like the exam, okay? If you can't dodge shoes, dodge books, dodge bras, dodge babies.
I will never
dodge other things. You can't make it.
I will never get over that video. The way he ducked, he was like,
"Yeah, not today, Satan. You ain't finna catch me." You didn't see that? He was ready for another shoe too. He flinched for a second time, like,
At that point, like, Secret Service couldn't catch him. I think the shoe hit one of them before it hit him.
You can't catch me.
He's like, you got behind
today,
me.
Satan.
He's like,
not today, Satan.
Dodging. But y'all
he said, not my ministry.
But y'all can't catch him. And like, I really wanted to like the guy. I do. I think as a person, I'm sure he's a decent human being. It's just, I'm going to need you to stop being a viral clip for Fox News. Thank you. That'd be nice.
Well, they have to post about something.
I remember that time where he was doing a speech and he told the guy in the wheelchair to stand up.
We ain't gonna talk about that. It's about as bad as when Chef Ramsay's told a blind lady to open her eyes and see. What, is she blind? Yes, she's blind. On live national TV, he asked her if she was blind.
I feel like they should do like embarrassing moments of politicians, because I feel like we would get like, instead of all these bad news, like insert, a light moment, funny moment for today. Just do a montage of just politicians being I don't even know. I can't even say weird or ghetto, just being themselves. That's what you should say, being themselves. Politicians being themselves. We should talk about that next time, because I got a mouthful about that. But what do you want to leave the people?
Well, people, I want to thank you again for continuing to follow and watch us. What I will say is therapy is important. If you think you don't need it, you're incorrect. You are incorrect. Please go to therapy. Even if it's just to like, you know what? Let's see what this therapy is about. Give it a try. I say give it at least like 5 sessions. Give it 5 sessions. Give it a try. And I mean like a serious try.
Yeah.
Handful of times. Give it a serious try. And if you see that you're not, getting any value or whatever out of it, give it a chance. Go to a session. If you feel like it's not working, try somebody else. Sometimes it's not so much as like the therapy itself. Sometimes it's just a person. You have to find the person that you click with.
I think
give it a try. Give it a chance.
I think you owe yourself the chance to at least give it a try, like she said.
Yeah,
because it does make sense. You are very much worth it. I mean, bad breakups, grieving, whether it's a death of a family, death of a friend, death of a coworker. Like one of my friends, a coworker passed, and they had like a grief counselor come in. Divorce, it doesn't have to be something super extreme. It could just be like, think of it as like a mental, checkup. Like you would do a physical checkup.
Yeah.
It's a mental checkup. Just to make sure everything is going the way that it is. Just to make sure that, listen, this is what I got going on. I just want to make sure that I'm on the right track as far as like myself. Like, what can I possibly do? Because if you view it as I'm trying to put me first, like that meme, I gotta put me first. I gotta put me first. I think you will be fine. And I think it shows that you're willing to take a chance to do better, be better. Because if you leave it up to other people, they'll run you ragged. We ain't all that. Not in 2023 and going forward. So I think you are your best bet. Always bet on you. Ain't that what you said? Always bet on you?
Yeah.
Just make that shirt.
Always bet on you. That's a safe bet. Yep.
Yeah. So I definitely say try it, do it. And also therapy doesn't have to necessarily come in the form of the traditional sit down and talk to someone. It could be like get yourself a hobby to help release, working out, going to the gym. That is a form of therapy. You're releasing all that anger. Because if you're not, then you are court mandated to attend anger management. And we don't want that for you.
Listen, as they said, and what was it? What was that movie again? With Elle Woods. I forget what the movie was called. Something pretty, something pink.
Oh, where Reese Witherspoon was playing a lawyer
with Reese. Exactly. Yeah. And that there was a scene where she was just like, happy people just don't kill their husbands. It's true. Happy people don't be killing other people. So you take care of your mental health, and guess what? You won't go around feeling like you got to kill anybody.
Legally Blonde was the movie.
You don't have to go around. Legally Blonde. That's what it was. Yes. Happy people just don't kill their husbands. Okay? It's true. Well, if you take care of your mental state, so will the other people around you be taken care of, because you'll be in your best state to be of service to people you care about, to people you love, to people you want to continue being in your life. You don't want to inadvertently push people away just because your mental state is not in a good space, just because you no longer have the energy or the capacity to be able to interact with the people in your life because you're not 100%. You don't want that.
Yeah. You don't want to bring misery around people that you actually like to be around.
Exactly.
If you cause a misery among people you don't give a damn about, that's a different story. We don't care about that. But the people you genuinely like.
We do not advocate for that either. Despite what she's saying, we don't advocate for that either. Okay?
Yeah.
Want you to be out here putting positivity into the world.
But like, if you generally like the people that you are surrounded by, you don't want to bring misery. You don't want misery being brought onto you. So you know what? Do it. Best money spent.
Yeah. So like I said,
until next time.
Bye.